Hey everybody, Jim Farmer again with Out on Film and Georgia Voice. We're here today with the director of the extraordinary film Moffie, Oliver Hermanus. Thanks so much for joining us today, Oliver.
You're welcome. Nice to be here.
Thanks so much. What made you want to tell this story?
I think I read the book, which was sent to me by the producers, and I mulled over it for a while and decided that I really wanted to make something that discussed this generation of men in South Africa and their experiences in the army at that time. I was compelled. Yeah.
Okay. From the time you read the book to the time the film was finished, what kind of a time period was that?
It was about 5 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time developing the script and writing. So we took our time. We were very cautious, and casting took almost 2 years. We really wanted to get the right cast, so we were not in a rush.
I was talking to Kai earlier. He mentioned that there were a number of auditions and chemistry reads, but can you talk about that ensemble? Because as you mentioned, it is an extraordinary ensemble of actors. Can you talk about the actors and how they all work together?
Yes, the dream that I had at the beginning was that because I'm making a movie about teenagers going to the army, I really wanted them to look like teenagers and to really get that sense of their youth and their naivety. And so casting that kind of age bracket really puts you under pressure of finding actors who are not necessarily trained or have just finished high school. So we were looking at a very sort of difficult kind of age bracket. So that meant that we had to do a lot of street casting and castle calling, and we saw thousands of people for this film. And Kai we sort of saw at the beginning, and then saw I think 10 or 11 times over a year or more, only because I wanted to get the right collection of faces, because I really saw it as a film about all of these 16 guys. So it was about balance and structure, and that just took a long time.
Exactly. Were there any particular films that you had seen that were perhaps inspirations for this?
No, I definitely didn't take inspiration from films about the army. In fact, we religiously didn't watch army films or war film, just because it seemed like it would infect our writing and the way that we would possibly come up with ideas. And so I think I took a lot of my references from very random other kinds of films. Weirdly, The 400 Blows came back to me because I sort of saw that as a very interesting coming of age story of somebody that also goes through a system and is left in a different place, and also ending on the beach. So my references for this movie were slightly more obtuse.
Okay. So can you talk a little bit about Nicholas and all that he's dealing with, as the film opens?
Obviously, he's afraid. This generation of men, they couldn't avoid this. You'd go to jail if you didn't respond to the call-up papers. The stories that were coming out of what the experience was like, which was frightening to most kids. And so he's living in absolute fear, not knowing that this experience was also going to tie in with, and his kind of unexpected sexual coming of age and sexual self-awareness. He doesn't go into the army knowing that he's gay. He kind of goes to the army knowing fairly little about himself, not enough about himself. So not only does he have a very key kind of sexuality identifying moment, he happens to have that in a context that would seriously damage and hurt and harm his safety, his life, if that was ever to be known to everyone else.
Can you talk a little bit about the time period? Because obviously 1981, apartheid was going on. It was illegal to be gay. Can you talk a little bit about that era?
Apartheid was obviously a system of repression. It didn't allow anyone to really do anything. It was designed to keep people away, designed to keep people in a very Calvinistic, for the Dutch Reformed Church kind of headspace. That was the nature, the conservative nature of the society was very hyper masculine, sort of leaning on toxic masculine. It was a repressive state, and of course, homosexuality was just considered to be a sort of like beyond the realm of the religious context of the society, and was the one thing that, as a white South African, you could be criminal, you could be guilty of. It was the one element of being a white person that actually puts you on the side of the vast majority of other South Africans who were illegal because of their race, which is why Nicholas is very interesting. This is the element of Nicholas that actually aligns him with the majority of South Africans, because who he is illegal.
Okay, I think I have time for one more quick question. As a gay man, how did you relate to this material?
The movie's about shame for me. This movie's about the shame of working through discovering your sexuality in a context where you immediately assume that context will not accept you, and so you self-shame and you reduce yourself to hide the person that you are. And this film, that is the thrust of the film for me, and that's the part of the film that was most personal to me.
Great. Moffie is available in U.S. theaters April 9th and later on demand. Thank you so much for joining us today, Oliver.
You're very welcome. Have a good day.
Have a great day. Thanks a lot.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.